The Revelation of Heaven's Secret 2025. Where did this Buddha descend? Welcome back, everyone, to Mind Podcast. Lord Shakyamuni Buddha once foretold that his teachings, as brilliant as the morning sun, would not endure forever in their original, pure state. There would come a time when that radiant light would gradually fade, unable to illuminate the restless souls seeking the meaning of life. This marks the era of the semblance Dharma, a period when the Dharma, though still present, exists only as an outer shell, having lost its soul and vitality. During this time, the Dharma resembles a stone statue, outwardly solemn and steadfast, yet cold and lifeless, devoid of the breath of life. The Buddha's teachings, once brimming with compassion and wisdom, become distant echoes fading through time, like a painting dimmed by the passage of years. The true essence of the Dharma, once a beacon of light guiding lost souls, becomes a silent shadow of itself, a once vibrant legacy now quietly retreating from reality. It is in this era that the essence of the Dharma is no longer fully felt. People hear the teachings but fail to practice them. They see the scriptures but do not understand them. They revere symbols without living in the spirit of the way. This is a time when the grandeur of Buddhism seems shrouded in dust, and humanity loses sight of the true meaning of enlightenment. As the Dharma ending age begins, it heralds the decline of the teachings. Like an oil lamp extinguished in the deep night, not only does the outward form of the Dharma become hollow, but even its essential nature is forgotten. It becomes like a melody without rhythm or a river that has run dry. Devout Buddhists, though still walking the path to find peace, find themselves drowning in the sea of ignorance, like travelers lost in a vast desert. Their souls waver, their faith falters, and the values that once illuminated their path become faint shadows amidst the storms of life. Every step on their spiritual journey feels burdensome, as though all paths lead to the abyss of suffering and loss. Yet, amidst the thick darkness, there is always a fragile but fierce glimmer of light waiting to ignite. Maitreya Buddha. The Buddha of the future will emerge as a lighthouse amidst a stormy sea. He will not come with the traditional imagery of a golden robe or a grand throne. Instead, he will manifest as a fully awakened being, transcending all boundaries and limitations. His arrival is not merely to teach, but to awaken, to touch the deepest recesses of every being's soul. The appearance of Maitreya Buddha will not be a repetition of outdated rituals or forms, but the revival of the true Dharma, an unquenchable flame within each person. The Dharma will not shine merely through words, but through profound realization, spiritual awakening, and the return to the essence of truth. He will guide humanity, not with mysticism, but with the sheer power of inner enlightenment, igniting within humanity a new era, a time of true peace and liberation. This is the moment of a great transformation, a time when all beings yearn to return to their origins. The light of the true Dharma will once again illuminate a new horizon for humanity. Maitreya Buddha will not arrive as a distant symbol or an ancient legend, but as a vibrant force, a new breeze that rekindles the flame of enlightenment in every breath, in every moment of ordinary life. He will need no regal throne or elaborate ceremonies. He will embody absolute truth, a powerful inner force that moves the hearts of those submerged in suffering. With his commanding presence, he will open the path to liberation for hearts bound in ignorance, rekindling hope that seemed lost. Yet we must face the truth. The decline of the Dharma does not stem from external circumstances or the age we live in, but from our own apathy. We have unwittingly imprisoned the Dharma within rigid frameworks, turning it into a lifeless object instead of a dynamic, thunderous flow of wisdom and inspiration. The Dharma is not about hollow forms or soulless rituals. It is about profound understanding, a lamp that lights the path back to our true selves. Without the presence of the Buddha within our hearts, even the most meticulously preserved teachings become mere fragments of a faded brilliance. The true revival of the Dharma will only truly flourish again when we cease confining it within rigid forms and allow it to permeate every thought, every action, and every heartbeat. Only when the teachings of the Dharma become not merely something we revere, but a way of life that we actively practice, can they be reborn in their full brilliance. This is also the mission of Maitreya Buddha, not to hand us a predefined truth, but to awaken the inner strength within each individual, so the light of enlightenment radiates from the very hearts and souls of humanity. It is not just a promise of a new era, but a call to action for all of us to rise and co-author a new chapter for the Dharma, a chapter that shines brightly, overcoming the shadows of ignorance and suffering. To welcome Maitreya Buddha, we cannot simply fold our arms and wait, hoping for a miracle from the outside. He is not a deity who will shoulder all the suffering of humanity, but a symbol of enlightenment waiting to emerge within the soul of each person. His arrival is not coincidental, but the inevitable result of a deeply prepared spiritual journey. It happens when we ignite the lamp of inner wisdom within ourselves, clear away the darkness of ignorance, and create a pure and serene space for His light to shine. This space is not constructed from grand rituals or outward displays of grandeur, but from sincerity, clarity, and relentless effort to purify the soul through every thought and every action, day by day. It is a journey of self-renewal, of breaking free from old patterns to embrace profound awakening. Shakyamuni Buddha once taught that, no matter how precious his teachings were, they could not escape the law of impermanence. After the era of true Dharma's brilliance, the teachings would enter the era of semblance Dharma, where the forms remained but the essence faded, like a lifeless stone statue. In the era of degenerate Dharma, the teachings would decay, becoming a mere shadow of their former selves, shrouded by ignorance and hollow rituals. Yet the Buddha also prophesied the arrival of Maitreya Buddha, who would bring a new light, reviving the splendor of the Dharma and rekindling hope for humanity lost in darkness. Today, we live in a world of turmoil, where material wealth, fame, and power overshadow spiritual values. Modern people are caught in a whirlwind of suffering and greed, moving further away from inner peace. Spiritual values struggle to hold on to faith, as they are confined within outdated forms that no longer align with the needs and aspirations of the present. The Dharma, therefore, requires renewal, a fresh vitality that is both deeply aligned with its profound truths and adaptable to the capacities and circumstances of contemporary people. Only through this balance can the Dharma once again serve as a guiding light, leading humanity toward enlightenment and liberation. The era of Maitreya Buddha, a solution for humanity's challenges. The arrival of Maitreya Buddha is the answer to the struggles of an age overshadowed by ignorance and suffering. He does not come to re-establish ancient rituals or the solemnity of the past, but brings a vibrant energy of enlightenment, transcending all limitations and frameworks. Maitreya Buddha is a symbol of renewal, representing the power within that helps humanity rediscover the innate enlightenment that has always existed within them. Maitreya does not merely save humanity from pain and restlessness. He guides each individual on their journey of self-awakening. Instead of granting liberation from the outside, he inspires everyone to become a torchbearer, lighting their own path. This awakening emerges from the depths of the inner self, moving beyond superficial religious forms, where the true light of Dharma is awakened within each person's soul. The light that Maitreya Buddha brings is not physical, but the light of wisdom and compassion, illuminating even the darkest corners of the heart. He helps us realize that liberation is not found in distant or supernatural things, but in every thought, action, and moment of the present. This is a return to the pure essence, free from attachment and suffering, where true peace resides. Welcoming Maitreya Buddha does not mean passively waiting for a savior to transform the world. Instead, it is a call for each individual to become part of that transformation. Each person is a lamp, and as we collectively light these lamps, the resulting illumination not only dispels the darkness of the era, but also ushers in a new age. In this new era, enlightenment is no longer the privilege of a select few, but becomes a shared horizon for all of humanity. The light of the Dharma will be more than a source of hope. It will be the guiding flame that illuminates the path forward. This is the mission of Maitreya Buddha, not only to bring liberation, but also to inspire everyone to recognize that true peace and enlightenment have always been within their reach. Only when every soul is awakened will the world truly transform, and the truth of the Dharma will shine eternally, becoming an endless source of hope for all generations to come. A story from Buddhist teachings, compassion in action. A compelling story from ancient Buddhist scriptures illustrates the contrast between the past and the present. It tells of a compassionate Zen master who always carried a small broom to sweep away tiny creatures like ants and insects as he walked. This simple act, in the context of a rural society, symbolized profound compassion and respect for all living beings. The Zen master's actions serve as a timeless reminder of the depth of loving kindness and mindfulness that defines true spiritual practice, a message that remains relevant in every age. Not wanting to harm any living being, even the smallest, is a noble aspiration. However, in a modern society like present-day Saigon, where life unfolds at a dizzying pace, such actions by a meditation master might be viewed with skepticism or even considered strange and unreasonable. This is a clear illustration of an important truth in Buddhism. No matter how noble an action may be, if it does not align with the circumstances or the spiritual capacity of people in that era, its potential value cannot be fully realized. We cannot continue clinging to outdated religious practices while society undergoes rapid transformation, especially in an age where life moves swiftly, technology evolves daily, and the psychological and social challenges become increasingly complex. Thus, the appearance of Maitreya Buddha is not merely a continuation of tradition, but marks the beginning of a new era in Buddhism, a vigorous renewal suited to the demands of modern society. He will not come to maintain old, outdated rituals, but to offer a new path, a way of living that resonates with the 21st century, a century in which humanity faces countless challenges, both spiritual and material. Welcoming Maitreya Buddha does not mean passively waiting for a miracle from outside. It is not a matter of sitting idly in hope, but rather an active journey for each individual to cleanse their soul, purify desires, anger, and ignorance, to be able to receive the light of enlightenment from him. Maitreya Buddha does not arrive to replace the old teachings, but to pave a new way, a fresh approach to Buddhism. A Buddhism that is not only a religion, but also a way of life that helps people address spiritual challenges in modern society. We live in a turbulent world where spiritual values are easily forgotten amid the race for material wealth, fame, and power. The psychology of modern humans has become more complex than ever, with psychological stress, imbalance in life, and a lack of ethical values pushing people into states of anxiety, dissatisfaction, and suffering. In this context, the arrival of Maitreya Buddha is not just a prophecy, but a fundamental necessity to help humanity rediscover peace and tranquility in their hearts. For a long time, Buddhism has been more than a religion. It is a profound spiritual culture that has significantly influenced the development of humanity. Great masters like Nagarjuna and others have played crucial roles in reviving the Buddhist spirit through revolutionary reforms, bringing Buddhist teachings closer to people in every era. These changes have helped Buddhism retain its vitality, overcoming challenges and maintaining its profound influence in both the East and the West. However, today's world is entirely different from the past. Cultural barriers between nations and regions are gradually being erased, and the world is becoming a unified entity with stronger global connectivity than ever before. In this context, old cultures are gradually being replaced by a diverse, synthesized culture without clear boundaries. Buddhism must adapt to these changes to maintain its position and influence in the new era. Maitreya Buddha, with infinite wisdom, boundless compassion, and the ability to deeply perceive the struggles of modern humanity, is a model of a spiritual leader who can guide humanity through challenges and suffering, helping them rediscover peace. His appearance is not merely a continuation of Buddhist tradition, but also a powerful encouragement and motivation for a spiritual revolution, opening a new path for humanity to find inner serenity. With noble qualities, Maitreya Buddha will not come to us through ancient rituals or rigid religious practices. He comes to illuminate a new era of Buddhism, an era of flexibility and practical living methods suitable for the conditions of 21st century humans. To welcome him, we must step out of old patterns, abandon outdated religious forms, and courageously embrace a new path, the path of purity, enlightenment, and tranquility amidst the turbulence of the modern world. If Buddhism does not evolve and grow to meet the demands of the times, it risks becoming an outdated relic, devoid of vitality. However, this transformation does not mean abandoning core values. Rather, It signifies growth and adaptation to meet the challenges and needs of humanity in the new century. Maitreya Buddha, with profound vision and infinite compassion, symbolizes awakening and serves as a source of inspiration for humanity to rediscover their true essence, live harmoniously with nature and one another, and build a peaceful, happy, and sustainable world. For many, life seems like an endless race toward distant goals, with the belief that happiness will come when certain achievements are reached. Yet in the teachings of Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, we find a completely different philosophy. Happiness is not a destination, but is present in every moment, in every breath, in the peace we can find within ourselves. Happiness, according to Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh, is not a temporary emotional state, nor is it fleeting moments of joy or short-lived satisfaction. Happiness is a deep peace, a stillness that we can feel in every breath, in every step along life's journey. Happiness is when we live fully with ourselves, no longer seeking externally for things that can never provide lasting fulfillment. Happiness is not something that can be bought or achieved through material accomplishments. It is a state of inner being, a sense of freedom and harmony with one's true self. To understand this, we need to return to an important concept in Buddhist philosophy, the freedom of being present in every moment. Happiness doesn't need to wait for some distant time in the future. It lies in fully and completely experiencing the present moment. Happiness is in breathing, eating, talking, and performing the simplest tasks. Happiness isn't somewhere far away. It is right here, right now. Every moment is an opportunity to live authentically, to find peace amidst the busyness of life. This, however, is not an easy realization. In our journey through life, we face countless worries, busy schedules, relationships, and the expectations placed on us by society and ourselves. Thus, returning to oneself, accepting one's flaws, fears, and insecurities is not a simple process. We often confront feelings of fear and anxiety about the future and regret over past failures. Yet, it is in facing these emotions that we realize happiness is not about perfection, but about perfectly accepting imperfection. Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh offers a profound piece of advice. Happiness is being yourself. This simple statement embodies an entire philosophy of living. To be happy, we don't need to achieve anything grand. We only need to pause, listen, and accept ourselves. When we let go of unrealistic societal expectations, stop judging and comparing ourselves to others, we can find profound peace within our souls. From this self-acceptance, happiness naturally arises. Inner peace is not a state of complete stillness, but a sense of freedom, a harmony with the world around us. When we are at peace within ourselves, we feel a deep connection to everything around us, to nature, to people, to seemingly ordinary things that become meaningful when seen through a different lens. In these simple moments, we realize that life is beautiful and perfect in its own way. This philosophy has been transformed by Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh into practical and tangible actions in daily life. He not only speaks of theory, but also guides us step by step, breath by breath. This might be a deep breath, a slow step, or simply sitting still and feeling everything around you. These actions are not magical tricks, but a return to oneself, a return to the present, where true peace can arise. However, peace does not mean avoiding suffering. In Buddhism, suffering is not something to be avoided, but an inseparable part of the journey of personal growth. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. This statement embodies the Buddha's philosophy of embracing suffering as a part of life. Suffering is not something to be avoided, but an opportunity to better understand ourselves, to transform and grow. It is through facing and overcoming suffering that we discover profound truths about life and humanity. Facing suffering does not weaken us, but makes us stronger, wiser, and more aware that birth and death are merely concepts. When we understand the impermanence of life, we live more fully, more freely. The self, life, and death are illusions created by the mind. By accepting impermanence, we no longer feel the need to struggle against death or fear annihilation. This is absolute freedom. When we understand that freedom comes not from external circumstances, but from within, we will realize that happiness is a journey, not a destination. Simply walk as if there is nowhere to go. This is how we let go of illusions about goals and distant ideals, and simply live in each moment with what we already have. Happiness is a path. Along this journey, we will face suffering and letting go as companions. Yet from this, we will find true peace and freedom. This freedom is not an escape from the world, but a wonderful harmony with ourselves and the vast universe. In moments of peace, we discover that happiness is not something to be sought. It is already present within us.
The shocking truth about Buddha and God. The answer lies in ancient Sanskrit. Welcome back, everyone, to Mind Podcast. In today's video, we're unveiling a mystical world from the past recorded in the Sanskrit scriptures, a startling secret that could transform your view of the world. According to tradition, Sanskrit was created by Brahma as the language of the divine realm, so the Sanskrit scriptures have always been passed down orally. Only when chanted correctly does the scripture sound release its full power. Scriptures transcribed by Hindu Brahmin sages were seen merely as lifeless pages. Later, when Sanskrit spread to China, it transformed into Chinese characters, and its pronunciation changed significantly. We often mention the chant Namo Amitabha Buddha, which holds a great secret. Today, we will decode it further. Namo Amitabha, meaning salutations to infinite light, can also be translated as refuge in infinite light, or merging with boundless light. It implies that we must unite ourselves with this infinite light to become one entity. This sound originates from the ancient and mystical realm of Brahma. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and enable notifications so you never miss any of our fascinating videos. Reports from various countries on near-death experiences describe that, at the moment of impending death, people often see themselves in a dark hallway or on a staircase, suddenly swept away at great speed through the dark depths of the universe, ultimately arriving in a radiant white light that seems to communicate spiritually. Transmission of unconditional love and profound acceptance. At that moment, a powerful sense of unconditional love and profound acceptance overwhelms them, dissolving all fears and anxieties of the departed, leaving only boundless peace. Remarkably, this experience isn't exclusive to those of faith. Almost everyone encounters it. In a gathering of practitioners in England, a renowned doctor from Taiwan shared that, in his hospital, those revived from clinical death often experience something extraordinary. Christian believers might see Buddha, while Buddhists might see Jesus. This phenomenon challenges our understanding. After watching this episode, perhaps viewers may find answers. Maybe Buddha and Jesus are, in essence, one. The chant Namo Amitabha Buddha, advocating for the merging of the soul with light, is indeed recorded in ancient Sanskrit scriptures. These texts also describe early Earth civilizations. Known as the Digha Agama, or long discourses, it comprises an estimated 600,000 to 700,000 words. At that time, Sanskrit had no written form. All teachings were memorized and orally transmitted by an Indian monk known as Buddha Kashyapa. Distinguishable by his large red beard and his birth into a noble Brahmin family in India. Despite his luxurious upbringing, he journeyed alone in the 4th century CE across mountains and oceans to reach Chang'an, where he spread the Buddha's teachings. When he arrived, he carried only a few robes and had memorized all the scriptures. In Chang'an, a revered monk named Juphonian listened and translated Buddha Kashyapa's words into Chinese, documenting them as he recited. Juphonian became a renowned translator, comparable to Xuanzang. Since the Sanskrit Digha Agama has been lost, some question whether Buddha Kashyapa could indeed recall and transmit 500,000 to 600,000 words flawlessly on his own. Later, in Thailand, a Pali scripture called the Digha Nikaya Long Discourses emerged, widely recognized in Southeast Asia as the Southern Agama, also known as the Southern Digha Agama. When comparing the Southern Digha Agama with the Northern version, translated by Buddha Kashyapa in Chang'an, scholars found the two versions nearly identical, with only a few minor differences. This similarity demonstrates that Buddha Kashyapa, with his extraordinary memory, was among the greatest minds of humanity at that time. Since the Digha Agama is so extensive, today we will focus on the most intriguing part: the ancient world secrets revealed by Shakyamuni Buddha. One day, over 1,200 monks were gathered in Anathapindika's park in Shravashti, a setting filled with birdsong and breathtaking scenery. The monks expressed their admiration for the Buddha, marveling at his wisdom and powers, his deep understanding of how countless individuals in ancient times attained nirvana and liberation from samsara. They also noted how he seemed to know the age, name, wisdom, and emotions of those who achieved enlightenment. The monks asked among themselves, "How can the Buddha know all these things?" At that time, the Buddha was meditating elsewhere. With his pure divine hearing, he overheard their discussion and slowly made his way to Anathapindika's park to give them a discourse. First, let us talk about Anathapindika's park in Shravasti, located in northern India near the Nepal border. According to records, when locals were asked about the outstanding features of Shravasti, they described it as an incredibly beautiful land. However, by the 5th century CE, when Faxian traveled to India for the scriptures, this place had fallen into ruins, with scattered bricks everywhere. 200 years later, when Xuanzang visited to retrieve scriptures, all the holy sites were in decay. This suggests that the era of Shakyamuni Buddha might have been a distant period, possibly coinciding with the Old Testament era, when Earth was filled with extraordinary beings and miraculous events. It is possible that the Buddha himself was one of these supernatural beings. The following account is based on ancient scriptures such as the Digha Agama, the Pali Canon, the Mahaprajna Paramita Sastra, and the Diamond Sutra, rather than fictional stories. According to these scriptures, the Buddha was born with 32 distinguishing marks. The Diamond Sutra states, if one sees the Tathagata through the 32 marks, then the universal monarch is indeed the Tathagata. Those bearing the 32 marks, if not the Tathagata, are universal monarchs. The universal monarch, a figure in Buddhist lore, also holds profound secrets. First, let's explore the 32 marks mentioned in the Digha Agama, often referred to as the 32 marks of a great being. In the book of Genesis, the term Gibborim in Hebrew, translated as Nephilim, means giants. In the I Ching, the 5th line reads, 9 words, flying dragon in heaven, benefit in meeting a great man. When dragons appear in the heavens, giants, known as great men, will emerge on earth. In Buddhism, dragons are called Naga, translated as Long Wang, dragon kings in China. The dragon kings are among the 8 divisions of heavenly dragons who protect the Buddha. When dragons appear in the sky, giants with 32 distinctive marks emerge on earth. Could it be that Shakyamuni Buddha himself was one of these giants? The Digha Agama describes the Buddha's 32 marks of a great being, exceptionally long hands and fingers, with arms extending past the knees when standing upright, hair growing in a spiral pattern with a blue-green hue. Here the story begins to take on a mysterious tone. The Buddha's hair grew in spiral patterns and was sky blue, while his skin was golden. His body hair, although blue, emitted a golden glow. His eyes were large like those of an ox, with blue irises, and he possessed 40 teeth. His body was much taller than the average person. It is recorded that at the age of 12, standing at the gates of Shravasti, the Buddha's feet touched the threshold while his head reached the arch, estimating his height between 2 to 3 meters. Buddha personally designed statues representing himself at ages 8, 12, and 25, which still exist today. His statues at ages 8 and 12 are preserved at Jokang and Ramoch temples in Tibet, with the age 12 statue being significantly larger than an adult. The age 25 statue, known as the Triratna Mahabodhi, stands 3.8 meters tall and is preserved at the Great Stupa of Enlightenment in India. According to Xuanzang's records of the western regions, Buddha's footprint measures 8 kun long and 6 kun wide, with a depth of half a kun. The Tang dynasty's measurement of 8 kun equals approximately 54 centimeters. For comparison, basketball player Shaquille O'Neal stands 2.23 meters tall with a foot length of 30 centimeters. This 54-centimeter footprint suggests Buddha's height was around 3.8 meters, a truly towering presence. His bone relics, or sacred relics, are also remarkably large, with some measuring over 5 centimeters. The Digha Agama lists 32 physical features, with the final one being a protrusion on the top of Buddha's head, called the Ushnisha, symbolizing nobility. This unique feature, a combination of flesh and hair, known as Ushnisha in Sanskrit, is seen as the greatest mystery, a hallmark of an ancient race on earth unmatched by any other. However, its true meaning is not simply a hairstyle, but rather an elongation of the skull, a raised point on the crown. Traces of elongated skulls appear across many ancient civilizations, from the pharaohs of Egypt and the ancient Incan civilization in South America to artifacts near ancient cities in Turkey. Throughout human history, noble figures worldwide often had pronounced, supernatural-looking skulls, forming the Ushnisha seen in Buddhism. In Sri Lanka, it's even said that Buddha's Ushnisha was so tall it seemed to reach the sky and was immeasurable. This depiction of an elongated head appeared too otherworldly for the average person to grasp. So in Buddha statues, this feature was gradually replaced by a topknot, making it look like a simple bun. However, if it were merely an ancient hairstyle, it wouldn't explain why Ushnisha was translated as flesh protuberance in Chinese. The 32 marks of the Great Being are attributes of these ancient supernatural beings who appear throughout the world. In Europe, Africa, and the Americas, head binding to elongate the skull was a common practice, as if people aimed to resemble these ancient gods. In the Digha Agama, the monks speak of the Buddha's profound knowledge of the past, present, and future, because Buddha was no ordinary person. He could understand ancient scriptures from the Brahma era. The reason for this lies in Buddha's heritage. He belonged to an ancient Indian tribe near the Himalayas called the Sakya clan, or Shakya tribe, who claimed descent from the sun. The Brish, or solar descendants, founded Shravasti, and their first king was called the solar monarch. The Shakya people worshipped the sun deity from ancient times. On Shakyamuni Buddha's chest was a swastika symbol, one of the 32 marks, which originally symbolized the sun emitting rays of light, spreading Buddha's radiance everywhere. Thus, Buddha, a revered figure of the Shakya tribe, or the solar descendants, possessed a deep understanding of all mysteries related to light. The monks asked, "Bhagavan, how did life on earth begin?" The Buddha paused for a moment before he spoke. He said that from the birth of the universe to its destruction, this cycle is known as a kalpa. After each kalpa, the universe and all life within it are destroyed, but as their eyes open once more, souls return to the world of radiant light, or Abhasara heaven. The Buddha continued, explaining that the universe is divided into 3 realms with 28 levels of heavens. Earth is situated in the desire realm, where material desires abound. Abhasara heaven, or radiant sound heaven, is the highest level of the form realm, while beyond it lies the formless realm, a dimension without physical form, existing only as pure consciousness. The Supreme Being there may represent a vast, universal consciousness. Thus, Abhasara heaven could represent an intermediate state between material and immaterial, akin to the wave-particle duality in quantum Buddhism. In Abhasara heaven, life exists. Beings there, called radiant sound beings, are naturally born with bodies radiating brilliant light. They can fly, and they consume food through mental contemplation, known as sati in Sanskrit, which means consciousness. These beings are sustained by the universe's immense consciousness, a source of massive light. They are known as radiant sound beings because they lack vocal cords to produce sound. Instead, they communicate through emitted light. In Abhasara heaven, nothing can be hidden. When one emits light, other beings can sense their thoughts. Thus, one must be free from desire and longing to become enlightened, for as one ascends higher in the heavens, privacy diminishes. Any impurity in thought becomes apparent to the entire universe. The Buddha further explained that when the universe ends, a new world will emerge from nirvana. In that primordial state, there is no time, no sun or moon, only emptiness filled with water. After a kalpa passes, the radiant sound beings reaching the end of their lifespan leave Abhasara heaven in search of a stable place. When they arrive in the desire realm, the Milky Way, Earth rises from beneath the water, and the radiant sound beings descend. They land on various planets, including Earth, where they continue to consume through contemplation, radiating light and soaring in the sky. They called themselves sattva, meaning sentient beings, creatures with consciousness. As they soared over Earth's skies, they discovered a large crack on the surface from which a sweet, honey-like stream flowed. Some, pure and unguarded in nature, curiously approached and drank from the stream. The more they drank, the more joyful they felt. The taste grew ever more delightful. Observing this, other radiant sound beings flew down and tried it as well. Drinking continuously, they gradually noticed their radiant bodies beginning to dim. Muscles, bones, and a rough exterior started to form. Eventually, their light vanished entirely. They grew legs, and their ability to fly disappeared, forcing them to walk upon the earth. The celestial beings lost their heavenly beauty, no longer divine, and began walking on the earth. The light on their bodies gradually faded, and the world plunged into darkness. The Buddha explained that, according to the cosmic order, after darkness appears, the sun, moon, and stars emerge in the sky. On Earth, a new type of food called earth essence began to grow. The beings started to consume this essence, which was colorful, fragrant, and pure. However, the more they ate, the more their bodies transformed. Their skin grew coarser, their faces less attractive. Those who ate less of the earth essence retained their beauty and soft, smooth skin, leading to a division based on appearance. This division sparked jealousy and disdain, marking the earliest form of appearance-based anxiety. As quarrels erupted, the earth essence gradually depleted. Eventually, a new food source appeared: rice, which grew without husks and could be eaten raw. Though not as delightful as the honey-like stream or earth essence, it was abundant and seemed endless. As beings consumed rice, they noticed each other, becoming more attractive, giving rise to sexual desire and deeper attachment. Observing this, others were shocked, exclaiming, "What are you doing? This is disgraceful." They considered the physical intimacy improper and expelled those who engaged in it from the community. This story closely resembles the expulsion of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden in the Old Testament, where the radiant sound beings are akin to the fiery seraphim, whose entire beings radiate light. According to ancient Hebrew texts, Adam and Eve were initially radiant like the angels. After eating the forbidden fruit, their radiance faded, revealing their coarse skin. The radiant sound beings eventually transformed into humans, and faced with limited resources, began to compete with one another. Consequently, they desired a king to lead them in their struggles. At that time, a mysterious race known as the Chakravartin, universal monarch, appeared in the universe. The title Chakravartin means wheel turner, or one who governs the cosmic wheel. The Chakravartin possessed a sacred artifact called the chakra, an energy source within the body used to perform supernatural abilities. This chakra was a mystical treasure capable of producing immense energy, allowing the Chakravartin to sit upon it and traverse the trichiliocosm, 3,000-fold world system at incredible speeds. The speed was so fast that they could reach their destination in just 10^22 seconds, surpassing any distance in the galaxy. In the universe, 4 Chakravartins are said to soar through the skies, also known as the Flying Emperors. Each time they appear on Earth, they are revered as rulers with unparalleled power and majesty. Their chakra flew like a celestial ship, known as the Wheel Treasure. The Digha Agama describes this wheel as having 1,000 spokes, emitting radiant light, crafted by masterful artisans from the celestial realm, beyond the mortal world. The Wheel Treasure appears in the sky, radiating multicolored light, a creation of heavenly craftsmen, not of human origin. The Chakravartin, who controls the Wheel Treasure, possesses all 32 marks of a great being, with a towering form, golden skin, and green body hair, along with a sun symbol on their chest. Their lifespan extends from 2,000 to 8,000 years, reminiscent of the kings listed in the Sumerian king list. The Wheel Treasure is also a formidable weapon, destroying any enemy who crosses the path of the Chakravartin. In Sanskrit scriptures and the Indian epic Mahabharata, there are accounts of a nuclear-like war in which both sides nearly used a superweapon known as the chakra. The entire solar system was almost annihilated in a flash, but a king reconsidered at the last moment, avoiding mutual destruction. Shakyamuni Buddha once said that in a previous life, he was a Chakravartin. Had he not attained enlightenment, he would likely have become a Chakravartin in this life as well. Thus, in Buddhism, the Wheel Treasure and chakra have become iconic symbols, often depicted in Buddhist temples. Tibetan Buddhism even invented prayer wheels as representations of the chakra. Do not think that the stories of the Chakravartin and the chakra traveling across the universe are mere ancient science fiction. The 32 marks of a great being manifest due to the law of karma, and Shakyamuni Buddha, one of Earth's greatest figures, would not speak falsehoods. Prehistoric rock carvings dating back 10,000 to 20,000 years can be found across North America, Washington, Russia, Brazil, Mexico, Sweden, Syria, and more. In these carvings, people depicted the wheel, treasure, and chakra in the sky. Most intriguingly, a prehistoric carving in Siberia, Russia, shows a seven-headed creature with the wheel treasure in the sky above, while the humans below appear tiny. In Buddhist scriptures, this seven-headed creature is called the Naga, one of the 8 classes of heavenly dragons and a defender of the Buddha and the Chakravartin. The I Ching also mentions 9 in the 5th place. The flying dragon is in the heavens. It is advantageous to meet the great person, symbolizing the dragon and Chakravartin appearing together. Prehistoric people worldwide witnessed these phenomena and etched them into stone, later recorded in Sanskrit scriptures and other religions. What do you think about the content of today's video? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. The truth of awakening. Signs you are deluded. Welcome back, everyone, to Mind Podcast. This is not just a video. It is an exciting journey toward a deep understanding of an awakened person who has attained complete enlightenment. How do they live? How do they impact us? And more importantly, how can we approach and learn from them? Today, let's explore the spiritual world with the secrets of awakened consciousness and omniscience through this video. In other videos on the vlog channel, I will use simple, everyday language to describe this as plainly as possible. I also want to address the reality of delusion and awakening in today's world so that people can recognize and be cautious. Recently, I've heard many people claim they've achieved spiritual awakening. I'm not clear on their concept of awakening, but according to Buddhist tradition, true awakening requires direct awareness and clear recognition that this awareness is Buddha nature. It's not as simple as reading a few articles or books and then using your intellect and logical thinking to declare yourself awakened. That's just self-deception, and you're passing that deception on to others. The truth is hard to swallow, isn't it? Before genuinely awakening, you are prone to falling into the traps of spiritual illusions, stimulated by desires, like a child craving sweets or being fascinated by supernatural powers, messages, and missions. But if you don't follow a practical process of practice and verification and only rely on theoretical knowledge for awakening, you'll gradually become a mad philosopher, deceiving yourself and others. It's like hearing about the spiciness of chili and affirming that chili is extremely spicy. It's true, but you've never actually tasted it. Those who claim rapid awakening often seek supernatural phenomena. These individuals who claim to have achieved rapid awakening are often fascinated by supernatural and metaphysical phenomena, such as spiritual powers. This self-hypnotizes their consciousness and attracts negative energy particles that attach to their minds and energy fields, creating hallucination. They are akin to those who claim divine ancestry, hearing voices from gods, saints, or the Supreme Being. From there, forces from the astral realm gain more puppets to control and manipulate. Remember that in the 49 years of the Buddha's teachings, he never spoke a single word about this. Those who claim to be awakened without having undergone the journey are merely wanderers on the spiritual path. They are lost in a deep forest of delusions, self-deception, and ignorance. The truth is harsh, but unavoidable. There is no shortcut to awakening, and it cannot be fake. Awakening cannot be attained through reading books or listening to speeches. It must be experienced and verified with both the soul and intellect. Keep in mind that in the astral realm, one of the 6 heavenly realms within the desire realm near us, there exists a rich and diverse society, not unlike that of humans. It contains all kinds of beings, from Buddhas to demons, from nobles to commoners, from those with dark consciences to great thinkers. These realms are also organized with factions that fight for power, and humans, with their unique energies, often become attractive targets. They seek out the superstitious, those polluted by negative energy, to inflate them, whispering in their ears, creating apocalyptic scenarios, cosmic secrets, or messages of awakening, all with the aim of exploiting and absorbing energy from the unfortunate human beings. As for those who proclaim themselves as teachers, reincarnated Buddhas, or descendants of dragons and fairies, they claim to have reached other realms. They spend their days staring at clouds, imagining that they see the image of a Buddha, a dragon, or a phoenix. It's truly an illusion. Take a moment to reflect on the prophecies and ancient sources we've encountered over time. How many times have we heard about the end of the world? And has it ever actually happened? These so-called warnings from the heavens seem inaccurate, possibly delayed by some divine intervention. Even if we witness natural changes and the decay of matter according to the cycle of formation, existence, destruction, and dissolution on this earth, there are still other places where the soul can reincarnate and continue its experiences, right? If you truly understand spirituality and the nature of the soul, you must realize that the soul never dies. So there is no need to fear the end of the world. The soul doesn't need a sacred place to rest, doesn't need to be a descendant of any particular person, and it doesn't need to be a leader of the earth. These are all elaborate schemes from the astral realm. The soul only needs to recognize that it is infinite awareness, interconnected with everything, and everywhere is its home. Doesn't need a galaxy, planet, or heavenly realm. To seek these things is to remain in the cycle of reincarnation. When energy or merit is depleted, there is no need to call upon some heavenly Father or Mother Earth for protection, because the soul itself is both the Father of the sky and the Mother of the earth. So, if anyone comes to you saying you are the child of the heavens, Buddha, or a divine mother, that in a previous life you were a prince or princess in the heavens, or an immortal general exiled from the celestial realm, and that you need to return to fulfill your mission, conquering the east and west, save the world, stay far away from them. Some people who have had their third eye opened may be able to connect with certain realms. This is entirely possible, as it depends on the vibrational frequency you emit, will correspond to a specific connection. But be reminded that these realms also contain beings, much like those on Earth, but differing in material and thought. We often refer to them as the heavens. If you place too much faith in them, you may deceive yourself or be misled by those beings. Sometimes you see sparkling lights. Sometimes you may see sparkling lights, thinking that they are the image of God or Buddha, manifestation of goodness and virtue. But remember, as long as there is light and darkness, as long as there are forms, there is still the potential to be deceived. Even the devil exists in the realms of deformed and free will, and the radiance of the devil can be powerful with all kinds of dazzling auras. People with psychic abilities can communicate through these messages. If fortunate, one can break free from such entanglements and avoid suffering and misfortune. However, if left unchecked for too long, negative energy particles will accumulate, the body will absorb more negativity, positive energy will gradually diminish, and the person may lose control of their behavior, living in the illusion of higher realms, eventually becoming irredeemable. They could become trapped in the cycle of many lifetimes, unable to escape, falling into an evil path, and becoming misled teachers. This is a grave karmic debt. Anyone who has the ability to open their third eye, yin-yang eye, divine eye, heavenly eye, or Buddha eye, is doing so based on their unique vibrational frequency. But if the one with the open third eye does not have right thinking, they will certainly be deceived in the dualistic world where the law of cause and effect still operate. How can you be absolutely certain of the future when cause and effect are still in motion? On the other hand, if you follow the righteous path, living in awareness with clear seeing and knowing, you will always perceive everything as it is, without judgment, evaluation, or spreading it to others. In the grand scheme, any realm with form is still subject to the cycle of birth and death, still part of the impermanent world. You should reflect on whether connecting with such realms benefits your journey of evolution and liberation. Does it bring peace to your inner self? Or is it merely helping you find food and clothing in your daily earthly life? The truth that lays the foundation for liberation and true happiness does not lie in seeking connections with distant realms or mysteries, but resides within your own peaceful and awakened soul. The Buddha discovered profound truths. Why don't we explore and apply the teachings of the Buddha? The Buddha taught, all forms are illusory, meaning anything that has form, defined or conceptualized subjectively, is an illusion, projection of the mind. The Buddha also taught, form is no different from emptiness, and emptiness is no different from form. Here, form refers to an object or phenomenon, while emptiness, refers to the nature of interdependent origination and non-self inherent in that object or phenomenon. The Buddha concluded the Diamond Sutra with 4 profound verses. All conditioned phenomena are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a shadow, like dew or a flash of lightning, thus should they be regarded. Conditioned phenomena, though they appear to exist, are not real. The Buddha likened them to a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a mirage, or a lightning flash. We, as ordinary beings, are deluded, clinging to conditioned phenomena as if they are real, which keeps us trapped in the cycle of birth and death. The Buddha, out of compassion, offered skillful means to show that conditioned phenomena are subject to arising and ceasing, impermanent, and not real, like an illusion. On the internet, some who claim to be awakened often persuade others that true enlightenment is found in freedom of thought and action, following their own ideas as the essence of awakening and divinity. They encourage people to follow their instincts, even praising actions such as sexuality and love, and promote acting according to one's desires. They believe that the soul comes to earth to experience and must complete all lessons before returning, thus seeking out twin flames or soulmates to complete lessons on love and sexuality, even when they already have a family and children. Freedom of action, they advise, may be true for someone who has genuinely awakened and understood the essence, but it's not applicable to those who only grasp theory without having touched that essence. We must accept the truth that each soul carries its own lessons, and every life we live is a school. However, the search for a twin soul to complete oneself doesn't always yield the desired result. In fact, we can find completeness within ourselves through awakening, understanding, and diligent practice. The important issue is not who or what we connect with, but how we connect with ourselves and the world around us. It's essential to understand that freedom is not the unchecked freedom to act, but the ability to understand and accept responsibility for our action. This is the true path to liberation, awakening, and happiness. We should remember that everything in the universe is constantly changing, and we cannot attempt to grasp or control it. Instead, we should seek to understand and accept the continuous flow of life and find peace within ourselves. Only when we truly understand and accept ourselves can we be genuinely free and happy. For someone who has attained awakening, who has succeeded in distinguishing between awareness and mental states, who has broken free from the control of habitual tendencies, whether they are drawn by desires for love, sexuality, pleasures, money, or even conflicts and anger, they remain unaffected. They stand apart, observing and controlling, allowing them to skillfully navigate these mental states and enjoy them perfectly. Awakening is the shortcut that allows us to transition from passive to active evolution along the path of oneness, without needing to complete any lessons on awakening. The ego, when it takes on the role of a teacher, can be very dangerous. First, it harms the individual, and then it harms those who follow them, their disciples. If one does not hold their own lamp and seek truth from within, the consequences are clear. There will be a price to pay, and the path of evolution will only be prolonged. But that's not something too frightening. The important thing is to distinguish between someone who shares and someone who desires to play the role of a teacher. A person who shares simply awakens what you already have within, without adding or fabricating anything. They don't hold on to people or seek out others to share with. They share naturally, without needing to care for or retain clients. They don't wait around to display their vast knowledge. On the contrary, someone who wants to play the role of a teacher often organizes groups, calls for awakening, teaches about love, helps with charity, and may even ask for contributions or services. It's not the fact that there are costs associated with organized activities that is the issue. I just want to say, be careful of the ego that seeks to be a teacher, as it's a heavy and difficult karma to shake off. However, if you recognize awakening early, you will naturally develop right views and critical thinking. At this point, you can engage in any battle, even those with forces of superstition and deception, and it will be difficult for you to be influenced. You'll also find it easy to break free from them. This is also a method I use to learn and experience. Therefore, be cautious, stay awake, and explore yourself before following anyone else. You are the one who can steer your own life. and you are the one who can achieve awakening on your own. Let's look at those who are on the path of seeking awakening through sudden or gradual enlightenment. Unfortunately, some have strayed into the delusion of theory. Someone may have touched upon the awareness of knowing, meaning they have reached initial awakening. But we must remember that full enlightenment is not just a simple step. The first step is realizing awareness. Most people stop at this stage. The second step is liberation from karma. Karma, which is intertwined with the essence of the soul and connected to the collective karma store, cannot be erased in just a day or two after realizing awareness. We must continue to practice and cultivate, reflecting on oneself until no attachment remains. If we only recognize awareness but are not patient in our awakening to liberate from karmic forces, we have not yet fully completed the path we are walking. There are also those who have not truly realized awareness or hastily declare themselves enlightened and equate themselves with being a Buddha upon initial realization. This is a trap we must avoid. The trap of being drawn into the theory of awakening while forgetting the practical path we need to walk on our spiritual journey. In the practice of realizing awareness, we need to clearly understand the three stages: enlightenment, experience, and integration. Enlightenment is the stage where we grasp and learn theoretical knowledge through reading, listening, and receiving guidance. This stage creates faith and sets the direction for our journey. Experience is when we must have a clear personal realization, similar to tasting chili ourselves to know its spiciness. Integration is the stage of diligent practice where we fully immerse ourselves in awareness. At this point, practice is no longer a forced effort, but becomes a natural part of us. However, some may go through the experience stage before enlightenment. Therefore, before continuing the journey, the most important thing is to first realize awareness in the stillness. So how does a truly awakened person manifest? You may not even notice the difference between them before and after awakening. This is because their awakening is not reflected in their external form, but in their soul. Their body remains unchanged. They continue their daily life and live where they have chosen. An awakened person doesn't necessarily have to live in a temple, leave the city to dwell in a forest, eat only vegetarian food, or live in a cave. They don't need to dress like a monk, shave their head, or preach about unconditional love. Of course, they may still do some of these things, but only out of personal preference, not to display their enlightenment. They don't need to showcase their awakening. Because they have found inner freedom, they have awakened their wisdom and reduced the dominance of the mind. In the past, when they became angry, they lost control of themselves in the heat of anger. Now they can still feel anger, but they are aware of it when it arises. As their awakened state becomes stronger, they rarely feel anger anymore. They live a free life, unafraid of being judged by others. Most importantly, they always live in a state of clear awareness, with a soul that is pure, calm, and alert, like someone who has just peacefully awakened in the morning, steady and grounded. Truly awakened person adheres to the literal meanings of the words awakened and aware. They are distinct from those who are deluded or asleep, as they remain fully conscious and live in the present. Since being aware means recognizing their steadiness, those who are always alert are the ones who have become enlightened. Each day, each moment of life is a state of continuous enlightenment, not just a one-time event, but a continuous state of clarity and natural awareness, known as omniscience. This is the manifestation of a Buddha. They live in this state every day, radiating omniscience. Even though they may not openly practice cosmic energy or other forms of cultivation, the atmosphere around them is truly radiant, full of abundant and powerful energy. When you stand close to them, you may naturally feel a profound sensation that brings you to tears, as if they are helping you release your karmic burdens. Without needing to ask or investigate, you will naturally want to share your suffering with them, and their radiant aura, without a single word, will continue to help clear your karma. They save others without having the intention to save. The process of salvation happens naturally. Even if they eat meat, they can still help liberate that living being. When they travel, like the Buddha during his alms round, they are actually helping to release the karmic burdens of sentient beings along their path. Whoever offers them food will be close to them and will naturally experience a release from karmic afflictions. That is the act of bestowing blessings. This is why so many people are drawn to those who have achieved complete enlightenment, because of the sense of peace and comfort they feel when near them. It is the pure energy, the aura of an enlightened being. Being close to them allows you to progress much faster than practicing on your own. This is why, in the Buddha's time, there were so many arahants, right? So what method can help us progress more quickly on the path to liberation? Body practice. Cleanse and resolve the karmic burdens of the body through physical practices. Perform energy breathing techniques to purify and clear the energy channels. Mind practice. Practice kindness. Live fully in a state of mindfulness. Always keep a smile on your face, love yourself, and love all beings. Support practice. Recognize early the awareness of the true Dharma within your soul and contemplate it deeply. I'll pause my sharing on this topic for now. I hope this video has brought you a fresh perspective, a new direction on your spiritual path. I wish that through these first steps, we can continue to go deeper into the heart of Buddhist teachings, and from there, find peace and awakening within ourselves. On the spiritual path, there is no final destination, only the continuous journey forward. I sincerely hope you will continue to walk with us on this path. We will explore together, awaken together, and share love together. May we all find happiness and peace in our souls, and become sources of energy and inspiration for those around us.